exciting. Of course, this is our Flat Belly Lifestyle 2.0. I know many of you have already joined us on this journey. In fact, we did our first launch back in April of this year, and since then we've actually had now a total of 3 challenges. Some of you have been involved since the first challenge. In fact, when I read the testimonials, people down 60+ pounds. I mean, that is just truly exciting, but we're even more excited because now we're doing our 2.0, which is designed to really take us to that next level. Let's go ahead and dive right in so we can see exactly what this entails. First and foremost, we are super excited because we're introducing a concept of not just going plant-based, but going plant-based for our blood type. We're going to dive in and learn a little bit more about how it works as it relates to our blood type and the foods that we actually eat. In fact, some of you, if you're here for the very first time, it might even shock you when you learn based on your blood type, some of the foods that you might be eating right now that actually might be toxic for your blood. In fact, there's probably some of you on the line who may not even know your blood type. What we find is if we're talking to 10 people, typically anywhere from 2 to 3 out of 10 know their blood type. We've been at this now for several weeks. I know many of you have actually came into the headquarters to get your blood type tested. And so what I would love to do is for you guys to hit us up in the chat and just let us know who's out there who's already actually had their blood type done. Maybe you already know your blood type, okay? We want to see who our blood type A's, our ABs, our O's. We want to see all of you out there. So just go ahead and hit us up in the chat and let us know what blood type you are, okay? I'm gonna give you a minute or so just to go ahead and hit us up. And if you don't know, don't worry. We're gonna jump right into how you can actually find out what your blood type is. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna take a quick call for my son. I think he just hung up, okay. Okay, great. You guys are letting us know your blood type. Wonderful. And if you don't know, one of the things that we're gonna challenge you with is finding out your blood type. Let's just say right now, you don't know your blood type, but you're a blood type B. Do you know that there are certain foods that are toxic to a blood type B? Foods like chicken. Maybe you eat chicken 2 or 3 times a week. Perhaps you're plagued with chronic issues. Could it be that the very food you're eating that you think is providing you with nutritional benefits could be the very food that's actually harming you? In fact, if you are a blood type A, like I am, you really should be primarily plant-based, okay? You should eat very little animal protein. And if you're going to do any type of protein that comes from something living like an animal, do it from a fish, okay? So like wild caught salmon, codfish, snapper, those are much better for you if you're a blood type A. But there are certain things for a blood type A that are extremely toxic for your body. In fact, if you love lamb, if you love beef, even if you love pork, pork is actually toxic for all blood types, okay? So we're gonna dive into that, but I wanted to just see real quick who out there might already have a strong hold of what their blood type is, and I can see by the chat that many of you already know your blood type, so good job. And so here's my first question, and that question is, what are the 2 things that everyone in the world is consumed with multiple times a day? From the time we wake up to the time we go to bed, what's on our mind? In fact, some of you are thinking about this right now. And let's go ahead and take a quick look at the answer. Hunger and thirst, okay? What we're eating and what we're drinking, we're consumed with that. In fact, when you really analyze it, it's the story of our survival. In fact, we're hardwired to actually have certain type of taste. In fact, whether we're looking for something sweet, something salty, something bitter, our taste buds have really helped to keep us alive, right? Because it's actually allowing us to crave things but also give us nutrients, okay? And so we're gonna dive into all of that. And so look at the facts. In the United States, do you know that we're spending actually $2 trillion annually on eating, drinking, and supplements? In fact, we turn around and on our healthcare system, we're now spending over $2.5 trillion annually. When you look at the big 4 here in the United States, we're dealing with heart disease. We're dealing with cancer, diabetes, obesity. In fact, when you look at annual deaths, look at how many people are dying every year from heart disease, cancer, of course, diabetes, even obesity. And so let's now look at another concept here. One second, one moment. I think my slides are trying to go the opposite way. One moment. Belly fat, okay? This is a really good slide because sometimes when we think about belly fat, we just think about the cosmetic implications of that. We might not always think about what belly fat actually does to the insides, okay? Something is going on real quick. I think I'm having the same issue you were having, Kathy. So like these slides are taking on a life of their own, okay? But with belly fat, it's not just about cosmetic. It's not just about what you look like on the outside, but let's look at this. Do you know that the average person is said to have at least 8 undigested meals going on inside of their gut at any given time? In fact, we meet people every single day, and one of the problems that people have is using the bathroom. I mean, you're supposed to use the bathroom every time you have a meal. That means at least 3 times a day. But we're meeting people that are chronically constipated, and understand that there are consequences of being chronically constipated, and we're going to talk about how you can actually avoid that as well. In fact, inflammation, when we're dealing with a lot of these chronic diseases, they often lead to something called inflammation. You know, they call that the silent killer. 9 out of 10 people are suffering from some sort of discomfort, you know, some level of inflammation on a daily basis. In fact, when we think about the United States, I mean, this is considered, you know, one of the wealthiest countries in the world. We have access to so much. But why is it that we actually rank 37th when it comes to average life expectancy? Do you know that there are actually third world countries that are outliving us? And so we've got to do better. And so what's some of the reasons why we're experiencing all of these issues? If you think about the food that heals us, the food that provides, you know, all of the nutrition, it actually has very low profit margins, but despite the fact that it often can be very expensive, right? And sometimes in some communities, there's even food deserts where they don't have access to food that's nutritious. But then when you start thinking about the food that's processed, right? The food that harms us, the food that can actually kill us and contribute to premature death. You know, that's that processed food, but unfortunately it has very high profit margins, low nutrition. In fact, when we think about our bodies, we have living bodies. So how can we live our life eating processed dead food and expect to have a life, you know, where we're actually going to be at our top level of health and vitality? And so we have to make some serious changes, and we can't allow big corporations to dictate what we're eating. We can't allow our pocketbook to dictate the future of our children. We know that here in the United States, our African American and Hispanic kids, you know, are being plagued with diabetes. In fact, if they're born after the year 2000, do you know the statistics now says that 1 out of 2 of them will have diabetes in their lifetime? We can reverse this, and we're going to talk about some of these solutions that we have here at our disposal. So the first thing we want to do now that we've looked at the problem is we now want to look at the solution, okay? What is the solution to some of these problems that we're plagued with? You know, the first thing that we can look at as a solution is what we brought into the marketplace back in April, and that was the original flat belly lifestyle. In fact, we had an ebook, and in that book, we addressed the most dangerous lectins. Now, for those of you who are new to this line, I know some of you have been on week after week. You know, my question is, have you ever heard of the word lectin? Do you know what that even means? You know, just be honest. You know, in fact, you can just answer that quietly to yourself. Just ask yourself yes or no. See, lectins are actually forms of protein that are found in almost every food, okay? But there are some of them that are very dangerous. But here's the good news. You know, depending on your blood type, different lectins are going to react differently. And so some lectins that might be good for your blood type might be harmful for another blood type. So tonight we're going to address lectins that are harmful for your specific blood type. In our first phase, we just took out all the most dangerous lectins, okay? But some of you, based on your blood type, might be able to bring some of those lectins back, you know, like tomatoes. I know some of you love tomatoes. You know, we took those out during our flat belly lifestyle, that first phase. We also talked about nightshades, and we also addressed the importance of gut health, the importance of ensuring that we protect our immunity, we protect our longevity by protecting our gut. In fact, our gut is said to be that second brain, okay? And in fact, 80% of our immune system is housed in our gut. So it's important that we have good gut health if we're gonna have longevity and vitality. And so the results of our first challenge were really exciting. In fact, these were our 3 grand prize winners. In fact, one of them actually won a trip to Jamaica, but we gave out cash, we gave out prizes, and so we're just super excited. But beyond just the winners, I mean, there were so many people that emailed us their results who followed our program month after month. In fact, when I look back and saw some of the testimonials of people losing 60 pounds, 40 pounds, that was so exciting. But now it's time to take it to that next level. And we're doing that with our plant-based for your blood type. We're doing that with our Flat Belly Lifestyle 2.0. Because here's the reality. We've all met someone who appeared to be at their prime health. In fact, sometimes it could be a young student in college, sometimes in high school, we hear that tragically, here this kid was, a star basketball player. It seemed to be in physically great shape, okay? But they died prematurely, sometimes from heart disease, that they never suspected, they never knew even existed. And we've all heard the story, of that 40 or 50-year-old, right? Again, someone at the prime of their life, relatively healthy on the outside, but all of a sudden they died prematurely. And so what we're learning and what we're sharing and what we're teaching is in order for us to increase our health and vitality, there are certain things that we must understand. We must understand the role of our emotions. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Eric and also Darlena, they did an amazing training on emotions and how emotional trauma can actually contribute to our poor health. Blood types is another factor in determining longevity because you have to eat according to your blood type or you can cause your health to actually go down faster. In fact, even when it comes to COVID, one of the things that was floating around the news, they talked about if you catch COVID, blood type O's actually responded better to COVID. Now in our community, because we were such heavy animal consumers, we actually had even a bad response for those who were even type O blood. But just know that there's a lot of clues within your blood, and it's important that you understand what you should be eating so that you can navigate a lot of what's happening here in our society. And then of course we know the importance of exercise and diet. I mean, those are vital to long health and longevity, okay? So our emotions, emotional trauma can affect you in so many ways. And oftentimes it's not what you're thinking, because sometimes you can be very positive, consciously, you can say that you're a happy person. But sometimes we've been through things that's left us with subconscious emotional trauma that's robbing you of your health. And so we've got to get to the root of that if we're going to live our best life. It's so important that now more than ever, we also look at the role of meditation and exercise. So critical to our longevity. It's important that we analyze and look at our blood types. That's so critical. In fact, we're going to analyze that tonight. In fact, if you've never, ever taken your blood type, if you don't know your blood type, if you tried to call the doctor and they don't have your blood type, well, here's the good news. If you're here in Chicago, you can set up an appointment with us by sending an email in. And once you set that appointment up, we're actually testing blood types to the end of the year, actually free. So you don't have to pay for your kit. You can come in here and we'll do that for you. But if you want to go and get your own kit, you can go right to Amazon and you can purchase a kit for as little as $8 or $9. And you can take your own test at home and learn your blood type. So make sure you take a picture of this, because once you know your blood type, you're going to want to share this with your mom, your sisters, your brother, and certainly you want to share this with your kids, okay? And so when it comes to inflammation, we all have heard that it is the silent killer. It's that fire within. In fact, when we do the scan, it's so powerful, because with that scan, in a matter of seconds, we're able to see if your cells are normal, if they're slightly abnormal, if they're moderately abnormal, if they're severely abnormal. And starting this week, our scan appointments will be held in 15-minute increments. And those 15-minute increments are completely free. That means as many people as we can schedule in, we'll give you a 15-minute scan for free. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort for our doctors to do what they do. And so for those who want to actually have further consultations, if you want nutritional plans that are custom to you, the good news is on your very website, you're going to have the option of doing some of those advanced nutritional programs so that you can get the coaching and the support that you need to transform your life and take it to the next level. Now, we pray that when you take your scan, the majority of the areas, if not all the areas, are green, but we recognize that unfortunately we've been eating against our blood type. And what we're seeing is more and more people are going into the yellow zone. More and more people, even people in their 20s, are going into the red zone. Now, we know the yellow means caution. It means you're headed in the wrong direction. But we know that when it comes to red, it means you have to make an immediate decision to stop what you're doing and turn into a new direction, because it is that last warning sign that you really need to take control of your life. And so going plant-based for your blood type, for those of you who've been worried that perhaps it's going to be a diet of restriction and maybe you're not going to enjoy it, I'm here to also share the good news. We've actually prepared some amazing recipes. And one of the things we've also done, because we recognize that people are at different levels. Some of you are ready to jump all in, and some of you just need to have some better instructions so that you can actually just make some better and more positive changes, okay? So we've actually prepared recipes for phase 3, but we've also prepared recipes for phase 1 and 2. And in phase 1, for those of you who just aren't quite there yet, you know, the good news is there are some meat options for you. For those of you who do phase 2, it's entirely plant-based. In phase 3, it's all plant-based, and it's really designed more for your cleanse, okay? And so let's just look at some of the recipes that we've designed for phase 2. And that's for those who are going plant-based, okay? And so again, we want everything to be colorful because we know it's important that if you're going to get all your nutrients, you have to eat the rainbow. You have to eat a variety of fruit and vegetables. But for those of you who just have to have those savory dishes, who just can't imagine life without meat and cheese, well, there's some delicious vegan cheese options, okay? There's Ezekiel bread that's actually neutral for all blood types, okay? And so we prepared some delicious meals for those of you who want to do plant-based, but you want to make sure you have something there that you can go to for those cravings, okay? But we also wanted to make sure that all of these recipes were packed with nutrients, so that you're going to see a lot of spinach, a lot of kale, a lot of arugula, you know, just seeing all those nutrients, knowing that your cells are going to truly get nourished. In fact, the good news, if you like to have your starches, you know, if you're in phase 2, you can actually have some basmati rice, you know, some black beans, depending on your blood type. If you're a type B blood, you know, you cannot have black beans or pinto beans. Those are not good for the type B bloods. But again, inside of our book, you're going to learn exactly what you should eat so that you can know exactly how to navigate it for your blood type. Now, here's the good news, you know, when in going to my grandmother's for Thanksgiving, you know, every year since I was a child, right? You know, one thing we would always have was collard greens, okay? Well, collard greens are neutral for every blood type, so we know that grandma knew what she was doing. In fact, turkey is neutral for every blood type. You know, cranberry and actually cherries. And so one of my new indulgences is cherry juice. I do the unsweetened, so it's a little bit tart, but it's super, super good for every blood type, okay? In fact, this is a broccoli soup. In fact, broccoli and kale, in fact, even red onions, right? Raw onions are good for every blood type. And so what we've tried to do is put together as many recipes that are neutral for every blood type. Mushroom soup. This is a dish you can actually prepare without cooking it. So for those of you who are on phase 3, you know, the good news is there are some soups that you're going to be able to have and still get through your 21 days, but of course you can't cook those, okay? Of course, there's some great meals for those in phase 2, like our asparagus and mushroom tacos. These absolutely taste delicious. Depending on your blood type, you can have an almond flour tortilla. For those of you who can do cassava, there's some delicious cassava tortillas. And then of course we have some amazing bean tacos with some vegan sour cream, okay? And so yes, you can still do life. In fact, there's even some pizzas that you can have. In fact, I had some pizza this weekend that was so delicious, completely vegan. Even my husband loved it, and he's a strong meat eater, okay? But we want to remind you to incorporate the fresh fruit, the fresh vegetables, the steamed broccoli. You know, broccoli is very beneficial for all of our blood types. So it's something we really need to make sure we make as a staple. If you're not having broccoli and kale, those cruciferous vegetables, make sure you incorporate more of these because these help fight against breast cancer tumors, prostate tumors, right? So we have to learn, what foods can really help promote healing and restoration. Now, when it comes to blood typing, one of the things that I used to love was a banana in my smoothie. Well, I learned as a type A blood that I'm really not supposed to have bananas, okay? Now, the good news, if you're type O or type B, you can have your bananas. If you're AB, guess what? No bananas for you either, but no worries. For those who are type A, you can actually put an avocado inside of your smoothie. And if you're AB, you better stick with something like flax seeds, okay? And so again, we're gonna navigate all of this inside of our ebook so that you learn exactly what to eat. There's some great dessert options because I know many people have a sweet tooth, right? We love to eat, great foods. We love to have something sweet. And so we do use special things like agave or sometimes monk fruit, depending on your blood type. So there's different, desserts that you can have as well. And so here's one of my favorites, chocolates, strawberries, and whipped cream. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, but this is all vegan, okay? Everything that I'm showing you, it's a vegan option with no dairy, no animal products at all. And so now what we want to do, since you've had a chance to look at some of the recipes, understanding your blood type, understanding which foods you should eat is really not just the key for your survival, but it's the key for us to break some of these generational curses, right? It's the key for us to really pass on the right information to the next generation. In fact, what we eat and what we drink, your body is going to respond to that as either a friend or an enemy. One man's food could be another man's poison. And if you're a blood type A, a blood type B, blood type O, or AB, in some families, all 4 different blood types are represented. But sometimes all families are eating the exact same diet. And then we wonder why is it for that particular family member that's suffering the most? Just to give you an example, in my family, everyone was either a B or an O. I was the A in the family, okay? And being the A in the family, guess what happened? I suffered the consequences more dramatically than anyone else. My family ate a lot of animal meat, whether it was pork, whether it was beef or fried chicken, I would eat that animal meat. By the time I was 19 years old, it almost killed me. I was in an emergency situation, having an emergency surgery, and the doctor told my grandmother that I had a 50% chance of living or dying. At that time, they never told me that it was my blood type that was not responding well to animal meat. So guess what happened? For decades later, I continued to have a lot of animal meat. And unfortunately, I almost died again right before I turned 40 years old. So twice before the age of 40, almost losing my life because I didn't know my blood type and how foods were affecting me. My son's a type O, so he could tolerate those meats much better than I am. And my mom's a type O as well. I was the A in the middle, and it was based on my dad who wasn't living with us. So they were preparing food for all the O's and B's, not knowing that I was the type A who could not tolerate that animal consumption. And see what happens when we eat food, a chemical reaction is going to occur between the food and your blood. And it's going to release a type of protein called lectins, okay? And these affect your blood. And here's the danger of incompatible lectins. When you eat a food containing protein lectins that are incompatible with your blood, do you know that these lectins target an organ or bodily systems like your kidneys, your liver, your brain, your stomach, and they begin to accumulate in that area, attacking it. In fact, it becomes like foreign invaders. See, these lectins settle and clump together. And once this happens, your immune system targets them as if they are foreign invaders. And the danger of that, it puts our body in a constant state of overreacting. When you think about the consequences we suffered from COVID, it's because our body was what we were so used to being in a state of overreacting. When COVID hit us, we overreacted to that as well. And so we have to prepare our body by putting it in balance. When Kathy talked about CBD, what I love about CBD, calms the body down. It helps to put the body back in balance. And that's what we need more than ever. Because uncontrolled, it creates violent levels of inflammation. This causes irritable bowel syndrome, cirrhosis of the liver. It can block the flow of blood through the kidneys. But now that we've heard the bad news, it's time to share the good news. I know that you're probably like me, you want to live your best possible life. Well, how is it that we can live our best possible life if we don't have the answers, right? So for the first time, many of us, have gotten the answers that we've been seeking. So now truly we can live the best possible life. See, your chronological age is the number of years you've been alive, but your biological age is based on a number of factors, including your diet, your lifestyle, exercise, and chromosomes. And so do you know that by making simple dietary changes, adopting small alterations in your current lifestyle, your sleep schedule, taking probiotics, exercising, see, all of this can help reduce your biological age by 3 years in just 8 weeks. How exciting is that? In fact, these are examples of people who are the exact same age, but your daily choices will determine how your future will unfold. And we can all agree that when we hit now Ernestine Shepherd, I believe she's like 85 years old. She's in the Guinness Book of World Record for being the oldest female bodybuilder in the world. I mean, how exciting is that? In fact, this is another young lady who's 76 years young. In fact, now she's probably 77, 78. But look at, she looks like someone in her 30s or 40s. I mean, how are they doing that? By eating living food. We have a living body, and our living bodies need living food. And so with our Flat Belly Lifestyle 2.0, it's all about food based on your blood type. In fact, we do it in 3 phases. Phase 1 is where we're plant focused, but we do allow you to have that animal consumption. If you just can't get rid of it during the first phase, by the time you're finished with that, you're going to want to go to the next level. Phase 2 is where we're plant-based completely, and phase 3 is raw plant-based. It's a 21-day intensive detox, and then you can go back to phase 2. So you're not living in phase 3 forever unless you choose to, because some people do raw food forever. That's a choice, okay? So we provide you with a grocery list. And inside of this grocery list, it's going to provide you with all the secrets that you need, but we also wanted to give you tools. And so if you're committing to phase 1 or 2, we're giving you a toolbox, okay? And that toolbox is your Flat Belly Bitters. It's a 4-day detox for those of you who might be constipated. You're having trouble, just using the bathroom. It's going to be an intense detox to really help you eliminate. Then we have our Flat Belly Coffee that's going to help you burn fat. It's going to boost your metabolism. It's going to give you energy. And then we have our Flat Belly Gummies, okay? They're going to help curb your appetite. And so these 3 products are great for those of you who are in phase 1 or in phase 2. And we have a Flat Belly bundle available right online. And so this is our original products, but the grocery list has changed because now the grocery list is a part of Flat Belly Lifestyle 2.0. And so here's the new grocery list, okay? The grocery list is great because it's neutral for every blood type. So regardless of if you're blood type O, blood type A, B, or AB, it's neutral for every single blood type if it's in black. So look for all the food that's in black, okay? If you see the red area, it's going to give you a warning and tell you, hey, if you're type O, you should avoid this. Hey, if you're type B, you should avoid this. And then it's going to let you know how each one of those phases work and operate. So now take a quick look at that because we're going to show you all the proteins. We're going to show you all the vegetables, all the fruit. We're going to give you the full list of everything you need, your beans, your nuts, your seeds, your oils, okay? We're going to give you the tools and equip you so that you can navigate this and get back to your best shape of your life, okay? And so we even show you, for those of you who can't give up dairy, we hope that you do, because dairy for most of our blood is not good. If you're B, you tolerate a little better, okay? But none of us need our dairy, especially our type O's. Type O's tend to do very poorly on dairy and on high carbs, okay? So all of that is going to outline for you right inside of our book. And so let's say now you're ready for phase 3, okay? Phase 3 has a different list, okay? This is a personalized list that you're gonna get for everyone who ordered our flat belly cleanse. In fact, Dr. Eric has given us some top picks to give you some general guidelines for those of you who are in phase 3. Number 1, it's your raw food for maximum healing. Number 2, it's your raw nutritional juices. And then of course, with every phase, you wanna go non-GMO and you wanna choose organic, okay? And so this is our flat belly cleanse. And that again is designed for anyone who's ready to go into phase 3. And so if you're ready to go into phase 3, there are 3 amazing products that we have collaborated with Dr. Eric to bring to the world. So this is Dr. Eric's exclusive proprietary formula that we now have here at Wakana. So we are super excited about that. We have our step 1, which is gonna help eliminate those parasites and mucus. And we're gonna let Dr. Eric talk about the parasites and mucus that are living within many of us. Many people on their skin had trouble really absorbing nutrients because they were full of mucus and parasites. And so we wanna evict and eliminate those parasites, right? Phase 2 is really where we cleanse with our liquid colonic. It's really the purifier. It's gonna purify the body. And then our step 3 is gonna really help the body regenerate by giving you those superfoods, okay? And so this is amazing because we now have this on our website, okay? And it's under the Flat Belly Cleanse. And so here's your 4 steps in closing for my segment before I bring up Dr. Eric. Number 1, make sure you go to flatbellylifestyle.com and register, okay? Register for the pledge. Pledge to go plant-based for your blood type, okay? We wanna commit to doing that for at least this first phase. And then step 2, you wanna download our new grocery list. Step 3, you wanna take your blood test, okay? You wanna know your blood type. And then number 4, you wanna order your products. In fact, you can order your products as soon as tonight. And with that being said, I wanna leave you with our mission and our vision for this plant-based program. Our goal is to do 1 million blood tests, right? We want 1 million people to know their blood type so that we can give them the warning of why we're experiencing the consequences of our eating here in this country so severely. And then we want at least 144,000 to join us. In fact, that's our new number based on Eric. It's a biblical number. And so we want 144,000 people to join us. And then we're gonna help conduct and facilitate at least 10,000 scans over the next 18 months. For those of you, again, who might not be ready to go into phase 3, we will kick off a group challenge on January the 2nd, where we're looking for as many people to go with us on a 21-day raw intense program at the beginning of the year. And so with that being said, thank you so much for your time.